Hey folks, Paul Carlson here, out at the range living the armory life. You may have recently purchased your first semi-automatic handgun, or maybe you've had one for a long time and just made the decision that you wanted to learn a little bit more about it. Either way, thank you so much for joining us. Now, I do want to remind you, anytime you interact with firearms, you need to be considering the rules of responsible gun handling. First of all, I firmly believe you need to know and understand those rules of responsible gun handling. Second, you need to follow them every single time you interact with firearms, and you need to make sure that you are storing and staging your handguns in a responsible manner when they're not in your direct control. When it comes to the rules of responsible gun handling, make certain that you keep your finger someplace other than the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Keep your muzzle pointed in a relatively safe direction whenever possible, and engage your brain. Don't forget, you are in control of the deadly weapon, and if you use that weapon with malice or with negligence, you can hurt or kill yourself or someone else. Now that we've talked a bit about responsible gun handling, I want to talk today about one of the gun handling skills that takes the most dexterity to perform, and that is getting the semi-automatic handgun into this position, locking the slide to the rear. It has some nuances to it that people sometimes miss, and it makes it very difficult to accomplish the skill without the information. That's what I'm going to help you with today, are the nuances to locking your slide to the rear. What do you say we get after it? Locking your slide to the rear, putting your semi-automatic handgun into this position, is an important skill to have. Number one, it makes it very easy for us to load, unload, and verify the condition of the handgun. I can use my eyes when I have light, but if I'm lacking light, I'm going to have to verify the condition of the handgun by touch. So locking the slide to the rear is a skill that can help us to accomplish that. On the side of the gun, you'll see that there's this small lever. This is the slide stop or slide lock or slide release lever. I don't really care what you call it. It does do all of those things. It stops the slide, it locks the slide, and if you press it down, it releases the slide. So calling it any of those things are okay. The key is that when the slide is all the way to the rear, this slide stop lever must be pushed up. When I say up, I'm talking about parallel with the grip or 90 degrees from the axis of the slide. There's a notch in the slide, and this lever has to be pushed up into that notch to engage it. So let's talk about some tips and tricks. First of all, know and understand that that lever has to be pushed up into the notch. If the slide isn't all the way to the rear, or if you're not pushing up on the lever, the slide is not going to lock to the rear. So I want you to think about it in two distinct ways: slide to the rear and lever up. Now, hand positioning when you lock the slide to the rear is very important. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run the slide forward. First of all, let's talk about the position of our thumb. It's important to have our thumb in a spot where we can work that lever. And you can see right now with the knuckle of my thumb, I'm able to start pushing that lever slightly up. Just this meaty part of the knuckle of my thumb, the wide part, is what pushes up. Sometimes it's difficult to feel that. Some people need to work their hand back on the gun so that they can use the pad of their thumb to push the slide up. Either way, the key is to have the thumb in a position where you can push up on the lever. Now, I already taught you in another video ideas about how to rack the slide. Remember, bring the gun in close, grasp like a saddle on a horse, and push with your primary hand while you pull with your support hand. We're going to put all three of those skills to use in locking the slide to the rear. But first, I'm going to position my thumb. With the Hellcat that I've got here, I like to be pushing up with the pad of my thumb. So I'm going to adjust my grip so that I've got the pad of my thumb. Then I'm going to put the saddle on the horse, pull to the rear. Remember, I have to push up at the same time, and you can see that I've engaged that slide stop lever with the slide and lock the slide to the rear. Let's do it again. I'll put the slide forward, I'm first going to position my hand so my thumb is on the slide stop lever. I'm then going to pull to the rear and push up, and I've got the slide locked to the rear. Now, sometimes this can be a difficult task. You could be tired, you could have wet hands, you could be injured and still need to lock the slide to the rear. Well, if that's the case, I've got a shortcut for you, folks. The follower on your magazine has a notch right here. That is designed to push up on the slide stop lever when the magazine is empty. So if you need to lock the slide to the rear, one of the things you can do is take an empty magazine, insert it into the gun, put the saddle on the horse, bring it close, push pull, and the magazine will do the locking for you. You can then drop the magazine free from the gun, verify its condition, and do whatever it is that you need to do administratively with your firearm. Folks, I hope that this was a handy tip. Maybe it's handy for some of you experienced gun owners just as much as it was for those that are new to the armory life. Again, a big welcome to folks that are new gun owners. If you're a seasoned veteran, please share this video with folks that you think might benefit from the strategies that I provided for you today for being able to lock the slide to the rear on your semi-automatic handgun. Now, folks, get on out there and practice this, and I will catch you next time you're out at the range living the armory life.